Hello, everybody. I am going to be showing you how to do a couple problems here from our work that we practiced in class today, represent and order rational numbers. This is a pink page that you got in class. We have already done number one in class together, so I'm going to scoot to the back side of the page, and we are going to do numbers 5 and 7. So the first thing that we're going to do is read our instructions. It tells us that we need to order the following numbers from greatest to least. So that's different from what we did on the back side there, but we are going to put them from greatest to least. It also wants us to plot rational numbers on the number line. So I have a line here, which I need to create a number line. And I can see my numbers are going to be a little bit larger than 4. So I'm going to have my number line go to 5. So we're going to start with 0 always, and that helps us distinguish between positive and negative numbers. Okay, does not have to be perfect. We are going to estimate on this number line. I'm going to extend mine out just a little bit because I did not make it long enough. All right, now I'm going to look at my list of numbers over here. I'm going to say, is there something that I already know that's kind of simple for me to plot? And I can see this one right here, 4 and 9/10 is really close to 5. So it's negative 4 and 9/10, and that would probably be about right here. So I'm going to go ahead and plot that. Okay. And then I'm going to write what that number value is, negative 4 and 9/10 right above where the plot is. And then I like to put a little check mark to know that I've done that one already. Okay, and then I'm going to move on to the next one. This one says 0 and 94 hundredths. So I can tell by the decimal that anything to the right of the decimal is going to be a fraction, and anything to the left of the decimal is going to be a whole number. And I can see right here, this is 0, so it's going to be smaller than 1. So that means I'm going to start from here and go somewhere in between here. And this one says 94 hundredths, so it's pretty close to 100 hundredths, which is 1. So I'm going to put it about right here. Oops, I went black here. Sorry, I wore my jingly bracelet and it's getting all over everything. Okay, so we have 94 hundredths as a decimal. That's right above there. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark off that I have plotted that one. Okay. The next one here says positive 4 and 1/9. So 1/9, when I think about that fraction, if I were to do ninths, let's just pretend, would be 1 out of 9. So it's kind of small. So we know that it's just going to be over 4 and just a smidge. So we could do 4 and 1/9. So this one's 4 and 1/9. Mark it off. We've done that one. Now, the last one here that we have is negative 9/4. Negative 9/4 is an improper fraction. That means its numerator is greater than its denominator. That tells me that there's more than one whole in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to number bond it, and I'm going to pull out as many 4/4 as possible. So I could do 4/4, 8/4, and then I can't do any more. So I can pull out 8/4, which is the same as 2 whole. And if I started with 9 and I've pulled out 8, what's left? 1/4. So I have negative 2 and 1/4 is the same thing as negative 9/4. So that tells me on my number line, I'm going to go over to negative 2 and then a smidge to show 1/4, right about there. And then I'm going to write 9/4 because that's the equivalent number to it. And now I've plotted all of my numbers, and I am ready to order them from greatest to least. So in the last problem that we did in class, we went from least to greatest, but this one wants us to go from greatest to least. So we're actually going to be reading our numbers going this way. Okay? So let's go ahead and start. The first number I come upon is 4 and 1/9. So I will write 4 and 1/9. Then the next number I see is 94 hundredths. Then the next number I see is negative 9/4, which is 2 and 1/4. Negative 9/4. And then finally, our last number, negative 4 and 9/10. Ta-da! We have ordered it from least to greatest. The number line helps us because it puts it right in order for us, and we can quickly determine greatest to least or least to greatest. Okay. Now let's look at number 7. So number 7 says, which inequality correctly orders the numbers -8/5, -5, and 58/100ths? So it shows us the inequalities, and we can remember that the inequalities point the smaller part says less than, the bigger part says greater than. So this is 8/5 is less than, -5 is less than, blah, blah, blah. So what we want to do first is kind of order the numbers, just like we did in the last problem. So if I were to think of, let's see, -5 is over here, I already know, -5, and I know this one, because I can see I have a decimal and a 0, this is going to be smaller than 1, and it's about halfway because it's 50. So I'll put it like right here. So this one is 58/100ths. Now I just need to do 8/5. So I'm going to just write it down here, -8/5. And just like we did before, we're going to make this a mixed number by pulling out as many 5/5 as we can. 5/5, 10/5, that's too many. 5/5, that's 1. If I started with 8 and I've pulled out 3, what's left? 3/5. So this is the same as -1 and 3/5. Okay, so that means it's going to be over here. There's -1, and it's just going to be a smidge over. So this is -8/5. Okay, now that we've ordered them, we can find the inequality that shows us this. This says -5 is less than, -8/5 is less than positive 58/100ths. So I just need to find which one shows -5, -8/5, and then 58/100ths. Here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this one as my answer, or you can put a box around it. Either one's fine. Okay. Then finally, I'm not going to help on these ones because these ones are words that you need to practice from Quizlet, but these are worded questions. What is an integer? And then what is a rational number? If it's a worded question, it should be answered in a complete sentence. So it should sound like an integer is blah, 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 blah. A rational number is blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. I hope that was helpful. You guys have some fun doing math.